guys, and welcome back to Between Us Girlies. I'm Bran.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Bailey.
I'm Casey.
And we are back for episode 30, you
Holy
guys.
crap.
30 fucking episodes. Honestly, thank you to everyone who's been watching us. Like, we're about to hit 50,000 followers on TikTok. So, y'all the realest for real.
That's 30 weeks of listening to us.
That's
saying
crazy.
nonsense.
I would not be able to do that. I barely listen to the podcast.
We have a really fun episode planned that you guys honestly planned for us with all of your submissions. So we'll get into that in a minute. But first, how was everyone's weekend? Casey, you had a nice meal on Friday night. You want to speak about it?
I did. So I went to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is a restaurant that has been on my list for literally like a year and a half. It won the 2023 James Beard Award for Most Outstanding Restaurant in the Country, which is crazy to like have that feat in Philly. It was like, there are truly no words to describe that dinner. It was insane. Every dish was so like unique and different and things I've like never eaten before. Like I ate quail and I ate like, I don't even know. There was insane things on the menu, but I like got emotional because like, I don't know. I feel like we've talked about on the podcast before that Philly has such a good food scene, but to like really be at a restaurant that was recognized by like a huge award that's really like valued in the like restaurant community, I was like, holy fucking shit, Philly is so cool. Like we have good spots. We have places that are super unique and like, I don't know, it was just like really cool to eat there. And I felt like I was really proud of Philly because we don't have Michelin stars here, but you have a James Beard Award restaurant and that's really cool.
Yum. I want to try it.
Yeah,
I'd
it
like
was
to
really
see
cool. It
it.
was also crazy because you pay for it like when you make the reservation, so you don't actually like get a bill there, which I feel like they probably make so much money in people missing their reservations.
Oh,
like
I bet.
you pay for the full meal. It's a
Shit.
$135 tasting menu.
Ooh.
Damn.
Can you do substitutions on this menu? Because I know a lot of those prefixes don't let you.
So our server was really, really nice because my boyfriend was really creeped out by the sweetbread course, which is something funky. I think it's like liver or some kind of organ of an animal, and he was very turned off by that. So he was like asking her if she could do anything, and she was like, for that specific course we can give you the vegetarian option. So he switched out one course. I'm sure if you emailed them beforehand.
Did you eat
I
it?
was going to say, did you try it?
I tried it. I got the normal one. I tried it, but that was the only dish I didn't like. It had this really weird creamy sauce on it.
Right.
So I actually like didn't mind the part that he didn't like. I just didn't like the cream. But the dessert was one of the best desserts I've ever had in my life. So if you have the opportunity, if a man is trying to win you over, tell him to take you to Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Period.
Philly
And
does have great restaurants.
Yeah.
does.
I mean,
Yeah.
the
There's so
food
many
scene,
good restaurants.
unmatched. And we went to the beach on Friday.
Right.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
What was the octave for?
we truly did have fun. We went for
Yeah.
Liz's birthday. We had a good time.
We had a good beach day. Like,
yeah,
we
we
saw
had
the
a
beach.
great beach day. Honestly, her dinner was delicious too. I just feel like we've low-key run the beach into the ground a little bit. So I like looked around at one point. I was like, damn, I've like really expired the plot here. Like, I don't know how many more possibilities there are. So I didn't go crazy. We had fun in the hotel room though.
Yeah, there's one part about me. I love when we go out as a group, like to a different city and we get to stay at a hotel, Airbnb, whatever you call it, because I feel like the amount of joy I get from being in a closed door area with you guys is unmatched. Like it was me, Lindsay, and Brandon, and we shared this room with one bed, and
Yeah.
and for the listeners, viewers, y'all know I got a bad back. And I hurt my back so bad on Wednesday. So I've been in agony for like the past few days. I'm good now. But I was like, yo, I cannot sleep on this couch tonight. Like, please. But luckily, Brandon and Lindsay got home before I did because I stayed out drinking some transfusions. And I get in and Brandon's laying on the ground. And it's also like sub-zero in that goddamn room.
Well, no, don't make it seem like we put his ass on the ground. We had a whole little thing where I was like, all right, who's sleeping in the bed? Because I was okay with sleeping on a pull-out couch. But Brandon was like, Lindsay, you drove here. And I was like, I'm getting like a special treat, a reward.
Sometimes you need to realize when it is your role to take the short end of the stick. And Bailey's back was in agony and Lindsay drove. And I was like, you know what? I'll take the L for the team. I'll sleep on the pull-out couch. But then when we got back to the hotel, Lindsay was like, are you sure you just don't want to sleep in the bed? I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, I already promised to Bailey that she had
Well,
that
we were
spot.
going to Charlie the Chocolate
Yeah, we were
Factory
gonna do
it.
that.
We were gonna
Beach
like
ahead.
flip, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's not gonna work. And then I was like, should we sleep horizontal? And then
Bailey's back.
I was like, Lindsay, I was like, as long as you'll help me, I was like, take the couch cushions with me. We set up like a little cot on the bedroom
cute.
floor. We put the couch
I
cushions.
thought you were on a cot.
And honestly, and it was fine. It was literally totally fine. Lindsay was like, make it as cold in here as possible. I was like, bet. I put the fan all
Sub-zero.
the way up. Yep. And we went to sleep. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think our friend group is like, we are at our peak funny when we were all sharing a hotel room together. There is just something about that energy where we have the most wittiest banter and like sharp humor. Like we're always like, oh, like we just like whip it. And I like just such a good belly laugh.
No, it's a good belly laugh, and like I look forward to it because like it's funny when people are like, "Oh my god, I want to hang out with you and your friend group." But if you were in a hotel room with us, you would see how we act like immature, like 12-year-old boys who like just hit puberty and just found out what the word boob meant. Like we are so sick and twisted. But I love it.
It's so funny because we're all so different in the way that we like live in a hotel room. Like if we all four were separately in hotel rooms, all 4 rooms would look different.
Yeah.
All 4 routines would be different. But when you shove all of that in a fucking little ass bedroom, it is crazy to see us all try to live together because it's like bizarre.
Yeah, it is. Getting back to that transfusion. So I'm on these transfusions
Yeah,
now.
what is
y'all.
that?
Vodka, Sprite, grape juice.
Did you just make up this name?
No, it's a golf course drink. So transfusion is a golf course drink. And down at the shore they have it because they're all like rich white folk. And but I kept drinking them. And so in the morning it was like 7 a.m. and like my eyes shot open like that Squidward meme. And I was like, damn, my stomach hurts. Like not even like alcohol or hangover. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna throw up. Like I was like,
I threw up.
I'm like, that does not feel right. So I went to the bathroom like shaking. Like when I got there, I literally just threw up so much Concord grapes. Like grapes. Like it was just like my body felt so relieved afterwards. Like I was like, wait, I'm not hungover. I'm like, I literally just threw up grapes and I went back to bed for another 3 hours.
She came out of the bathroom and we made eye contact and Lindsay wasn't awake yet. So we were very like, and she's like, I just threw up Concord grapes. And I was like, ew. It was 7:48 in the morning. I was like, ew, Bailey.
I almost went and got some tea. I was like, damn, my belly hurt.
Well, you did have a really funny one-liner. When I was finally waking up, I started talking to Brandon. I looked over and I saw him awake, and I started talking, and you said, there are still some guests that are still sleeping.
No, I didn't think you heard me.
I did, and I laughed.
Oh,
You
Yes.
always have such interesting drink choices, Bailey.
Yeah.
Like, I think if we all had to bet what you go up to order at a bar, I don't know if we would ever get it right because you have changed your drinks so much in the course of our friendship. And it's never something that every bar has. Like, you're like, oh, this bar doesn't have it. And it's like, it's 1 in every 6 bars.
sweet tea vodka.
Sweet
A
tea
Hugo
vodka.
Spritz.
Sometimes she'll just walk up out of nowhere and get a high noon when we're all drinking like full cocktails. I'm like, Bailey, what?
It honestly was really funny too because like you reminded me of like a cartoon character. Like she had this beautiful ponytail that was just bobbing and she would just come and she had this gorgeous orange top that like contrasted beautifully with the purple transfusion. And every 10 minutes there was a fresh new transfusion in her hand. I was like, you got another one?
I was sucking them down because it tastes like
They're
grape
good.
juice. It's so good.
They're
So
good.
funny.
Brandon looked at me, he's like, you're going to be hungover tomorrow.
I was like, that's sugar water. I was like, you're going to be feeling it.
I actually, now that I think about it, I have a bone to pick with the Whitebriar. I love the Whitebriar Bar and Restaurant. It is an excellent time. However, their drinks are poison. I feel like I'm at Woody's when I'm there. I couldn't get it down.
Love it
I
bad.
did get it down, but they want to hurt you when you go there.
I feel like even when you're eating dinner too, like their food's honestly so good and you order this really nice meal and then by the time the food gets there, you're already like 2 drinks in and you're like, I don't want to fucking eat at this point. Like I'm drunk.
Yep. And then Saturday we all went to the Union game.
Yes.
What a plot twist.
I honestly had so much fun. We all took off.
Can we preface this by saying it was a great time? Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it was also 99 fucking degrees outside.
It was hot.
It was a scorcher, for
yeah,
sure.
it was insane. And this friend group does not do well in the heat.
No, we don't.
But I said if the players can be out there, so can we.
And the players were out there.
Lord.
You guys were in, so for the listeners, my boyfriend's best friend was proposing to his girlfriend at the Union game and she's the like in arena host. So all of my boyfriend's friends were there. We took a huge party bus. Brandon had to be there, so all the girlies went. And it's really funny. You guys were in much better spirits than I predicted because I was fucking miserable. And I feel like I'm usually the one who's like, I can go to a sports game and like be in the elements. I was miserable, and I meet up with you three, and it was like, you guys had the best time of your life. I was like, what the fuck? Are we at the same place?
Because so many just like at one point, like we were just, when we were Ubering to the bus, we were just curled in an Uber, and I just looked at everybody. I was like, guys, this is hilarious. Like, this is really funny. And then, like, we just had a good time.
Yeah.
The sprinklers, like, they showered us at one point, and all three of us saw it coming, and none of us got up because we were so hot. And it felt like we were in an amusement. I was right after, I was like, guys, we have to go to an amusement park and ride a log flume. We just let it pelt us.
Yeah.
Like, we were drowned.
I was in a white t-shirt and it hit Bailey. It hit you the worst, Bailey. Like Bailey got a front to like full head to toe like shower, but for me it was just like boobs down, and I was in a white t-shirt and I held my hands up and I put my hair back and I was like, wet me. Like I literally felt like a hoe. But
It just reminded me of like being a kid, because like, you know, when like sprinklers like coming right at you, like I had my phone, I had a fan on my phone, so I was using that. I saw that sprinkler coming, I put it under my thigh and it just came on me. Like I felt like, remember like in church, Casey, when they do the holy water,
And they drench you.
that, but 10 times more. But it felt good.
Yeah.
We should go to an amusement park soon. Side note.
I'm down.
I think Six Flags, Dorney Park, or Hershey should watch the podcast and send us some tickets.
And whoever gets to us first, we'll go there
Or
exclusively.
Maury's Pier at
Yeah,
Wildwood,
Maury's
y'all.
Pier.
I'm telling you, don't.
Oh, it was like
that
Morgan's
is really
Pier?
fun.
No, Maury's Pier at Wildwood. That water park goes crazy.
The rides, the food, the vibes.
We should go to another union game though, low key.
Let's just pick a little bit of a cooler day.
I think that was like pretty much it for the weekend. Anyone else have anything to report?
No,
I
I feel
had
like
a smashing great pool day at the Piazza Pool yesterday.
love
and I
that.
got a pedicure. It was great.
Show
nice
us your
Sunday.
Yeah, let's see your feet.
That's not for free, guys. Come on, exclusive content in our Patreon. But given that it is episode 30, Flirty and Thriving, I actually watched 13 Going on 30 last night. Great film.
You've been really in your rom-com era.
I really have been. Honestly, I'm just a sucker for a good nostalgic flick.
I agree.
We asked our viewers what you guys wanted to hear this episode, and we got overwhelming responses of how to transition into adulthood post-grad, basically how to keep friendships in your 20s, how to deal with work drama in your 20s. So this is going to be your girlies survival guide to surviving your 20s, presented to you by 4 28-year-old idiots who you absolutely should not be listening to anything we say. But here we are. You guys asked and we answered.
Best
So
of luck.
I guess we'll start with post-graduation life. So at the age of like 22, you graduate college, and then what's next? So for me and Lindsay, we moved home to the suburbs. And I feel like that's kind of the first point that I want to touch on. It's like there was, I don't know if there still is, but like there was kind of this like judgment around people that moved home after college and like going back and living with your parents. Like that was like such a loser thing to do. If you have the privilege, because it is that, a privilege, to get to move back into your parents' house after college graduation, do it. Because sure, do you lose your independence? Absolutely. Is it a harsh transition from having the freedom of a college student to then being back under your parents' roof? Absolutely. But I was in a really privileged setting where my parents didn't charge me rent or anything. I was able to save up so much money. And also I got to reconnect with Lindsay, which is like such a cool experience because there were so many high school friends that I was still friendly with, but I just didn't get to see that much because they didn't go to school. Like Lindsay went to Penn State, which was 4.5 hours away. And then when we all moved back to the suburbs, we got so close again. And it was just like a really amazing time. So I really value that time that I was able to live at my parents and kind of save up money and really build a future for myself. So if you're in that situation, don't feel ashamed that you have to go live back with mom and dad. Like take it. Enjoy those meals, enjoy those free bills, because you will become an adult and you will cherish going back to your parents' house.
Yeah.
Lindsay, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I really think you said it all. Like being ashamed about going home to a comfy bed that your mom makes for you, groceries, dinner on the table, free laundry, like those, if anybody is checking you or trying to make you feel embarrassed for having those things, I'm sorry, but they're not very smart. Like, it is just the best gift that your parents can give you. I will say, though, if your parents are going to charge you rent, and I don't know anybody who's ever experienced this, I don't think, I would move out. I think that living under your parents' roof and then having to pay rent on top of that sounds like counterproductive. I feel like if you're going to be independent, it probably makes sense, if you're going to have to pay for something anyway, to just do it on your own.
I feel like it can be a little different for different families.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's
I've never
definitely
experienced it.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Like, unless your parents are paying you more than what your own apartment would be. But most people that I know that have done that, they pay like much less.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
to
like,
get you into the habit of like having to save money, because that is a transition. Like Bailey and I, it's really interesting that we have like such a split between the podcasts. Like, you guys both move home, Bailey and I both move in together, because it is a huge transition, like paying rent like that. So, and I also know some parents who give it back to their kids when they
I
move
do
out.
they
hear
keep,
about
like, an
that a
escrow.
lot.
Yeah.
But I just like, I guess when I kind of think of them as horror stories, like your parents making you pay not a small amount of money, like actual rent. Like, I'm not talking like $200 a month. Like, I'm talking like you are paying for your bedroom, you're buying your own groceries, you're still paying for like all those little things that you would pay leaving college if you were to live on your own. I'm just talking about like really extreme situations like that. But I totally hear your point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was different for me and Casey. Like, personally, I went to college in Philadelphia for like job opportunities. Like, I just did not, like, I'm from Erie. Like, I did not want to stay home in Erie after college. So literally, like, in May, April, like, I was trying to find jobs, like, for me to be able to stay in Philly. And y'all heard about that horror story of me going door to door for Verizon. But I was also living in a house already in Philly senior year, like you were too, Brandon. But like, my lease was still going on because the girls I lived with, they were in grad school, so they still had another like year. So whatever. Me and my other roommate, we were looking to move out because she also was staying in Philly, so that's how we ended up moving with Casey. But I personally, like, my decision to get a job, and I ended up going to JP Morgan. I love that because like right after college in June, like, I got a super amazing job with an amazing company, like, on my resume. I thought that was like such a good decision because I'm also in finance, so like having JP Morgan on my resume and getting right into the job field of like working at 9 to 5, it was completely different. It was like taking a train to Delaware. Like, it was such a bills. Like, it was also cool being a big girl now and getting paid. Like, I thought that was so cool. It was such a quick transition. But yeah, I'll stop there because it gets fun.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't have the privilege of moving home. When I left home, it was just like never really an option to move back. And while obviously it would have been nice to stay home and save money, I think I like found myself a lot sooner because like you're on your own and you kind of have to figure it out. You're sort of like thrown into adult life. And while that can be incredibly frustrating and scary, it's also super rewarding when you like figure it out by yourself and you look back and you're like, holy shit, I survived my first year paying my own rent and things like that. And I think, if you are in the position where you can't move home, whether it's because of location or home situation or whatever it is, you find yourself living on your own after college, I think like embrace it to the best that you can. I think for any situation, whether it's home or whatever, like embrace it because it's for a reason. Like, it might not make sense and it might seem like, what the fuck, they get to move home and save money? Or on the other side of it, it might be like, oh, that's so unfair. I'm stuck at home and they get to live in the city and do their own thing. Whatever situation you're in, I think that there's a reason and one day it will all make sense. So it was, I liked being able to live right on my own. I feel like I'm a very independent person in that. Like, I like to have things my way. So that was the benefit. Both sides, I think, have their benefits and their downfalls. It's kind of like what you make of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest parts about that first transition, whether you're living on your own or you're living, with your parents, is honestly like finding a job. And like, I think that was the overarching pressure of senior year of college is like, you are in this horrible position where you are comparing yourself to everybody. Like, someone has an internship before you do, someone has a job offer before you do. Like, and there are some people like who don't have a job that whole summer and they're just trying to find one. And it's like, you feel like a loser. And like, you shouldn't feel that way because like, one, you have your whole life to work. And two, like, I wish I could have told myself. So like, personal backstory, like, I interned at Burlington, like Burlington Coat Factory's corporate office. And I was so down on myself because there was 4 kids from our college that interned there and 3 of them got job offers and I didn't. And I didn't even want to work there. I was just so obsessed with the idea of having a job after college because that's what I deemed as success, was just having a job no matter what the job was. If I would have gotten that job at Burlington, I genuinely would not have been sitting in this chair right now. I would have, now I'm a full-time content creator. I would have never been able to do what I thought I wanted to do. Like, you will learn after college, like, there will be a dream that you don't get because it wasn't actually your dream. And remember that. So be graceful with yourself with finding a job. Obviously, there's bills to pay, there's pressure. But I always say this because I speak to college students a lot. There's a difference between taking a baby step and a wrong step. Like, taking a baby step would be like, I wanted to work for Urban Outfitters Incorporated. A baby step that I took was working in their stores as a retail worker, making minimum wage, but I was like, this is going to look really good on my resume. A wrong step would have been working for Burlington just because I wanted corporate experience. Like, so know the difference between the two, and that's kind of a hard distinction, but don't be scared to not settle for something that you don't want just because you want a quote unquote job.
Yeah. I mean, exactly what I did. Like, I was going to all these job fairs and I thought that my job offer right out of college, like, I was going to start like the day after graduation or whatever. It was not for me. I'm not going door to door. I didn't just graduate with a finance degree to go door to door to sell these. And that's okay if you want to, but it's also, there's other things out there. Like, I went into foreign exchange trading. Like, I didn't think I'd ever deal with foreign exchange or deal with the what did I do when Michael Kors bought Louis Vuitton? I did that, like, foreign exchange trade, because it was like USD to like London pound or whatever. But like, that's cool as shit. Like, I never thought I'd be able to do that, but like, there's so many things out there, like, for jobs, I will say, like, just don't put yourself into a little hole. Like, there's so many things out there.
I feel like I definitely did that. I feel like leaving college, and I'll talk about it once we get into 28, but I'm starting to see the repercussions of my choice. What did you call it? It's a
Baby step versus the wrong step.
My wrong step. I was so determined to get a job out of college. I ended up, so you graduate in May, I got a job in September. Like, it was a really nice transition into like finding something. And I leaped at the first thing that came to me instead of really like leaning into my passions, seeing what was really going to help me grow as an individual, exploring my talents. Like, I didn't think of any of that. I thought of, I'm going to get a paycheck so that I can move out. And I ended up putting myself in a very niche industry that I'm not passionate about, that I don't want to do anything in this industry. Brandon tells me all the time, stop applying for jobs in this industry. You absolutely hate it. And now that I was talking to Bailey about this, now that I have, like 6-7 years of experience in this very niche space, I'm trying to get out of it. And it's been a really difficult transition. So I think that really like diving into baby steps versus bad steps is really, really important.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like the most age-old saying ever, that like social media is just a highlight reel and you can't compare yourself to people on social media. You hear it every day, but it genuinely needs to become a part of your morning routine, is telling yourself that in the mirror when you graduate college and the early years, honestly, all of your 20s, because it is so easy to see your friend that's traveling abroad and you're like, damn, I wish I had the money to travel abroad. Or see your friend that's working in a really nice building with really nice benefits, an office space that has a coffee machine and she gets free coffee every morning. And then you see your other friend that's buying all these things, and it's so easy to be like, damn, like, they have the best jobs ever. They get paid so much money. You have no idea what's going on. They could be in credit card debt because they used all their money to go abroad. They could be miserable at that job. There's so many things that you don't know. Think about yourself. Think about the stories you post. And if you went back and looked and you're like, damn, I was actually miserable that day and I posted this cute ass picture. Like, always think about it from that perspective, because your 20s, all you do is compare to your friends, to people you don't know, to the mean girls in high school. Like, you really truly have to remind yourself that it is not real.
Yeah. That's so true.
How do you guys think like your friendships changed like immediately after graduating? Like, do you guys feel like you noticed quickly that like some of your friends in college were not going to be your friends in real life?
Absolutely. Yeah. So
That was quick.
Yeah. No, it was such a quick, like, I don't know. It just seemed, because I remember people saying like you're going to meet your lifelong friends in college, which is crazy because like I feel like up until like the day of graduation, like when I look at us now, like it's so crazy seeing like the ones that have dropped off. But even just the girls I live with, it turned so tumultuous so fast just over like a living situation. Just because I remember like me and my other roommate wanted to move out because we had jobs and we weren't staying in that area. It just became such a, just that nasty blowout. I'm like, damn, we just graduated and it's already a friend lost. Like, it just happened so fast. I'm like, well, there it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think I have always said this. I feel like because we went to school in Philadelphia, we had it pretty lucky where so many of our friends were from the surrounding area. So when we graduated, like people weren't really like moving across the country. Most people we know are in like an hour or 2 hour difference. But I have friends who went to college in different states. My boyfriend went to school in Arizona, and like when he graduated, he moved home a whole plane ride away, and like some of his friends moved to other sides of the country. So I feel like when you graduate, like because life changes, like sometimes you just lose touch with friends because of circumstance, and you realize like, oh, we were friends out of convenience versus we were friends out of, I want to be your friend. I genuinely want you in my life.
Now that I think about it too, I feel like after college, it kind of like, we were partying a lot more, and I feel like we were like party friends. Like when I look back now, like they were all party friends, and I think they kind of just died out over time, like in that early stage of like 22, 23.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about moving home? Like, did you feel like it was harder to see people?
I felt like there was a like kind of a give and take. Like the good part was like I reconnected with old friends who moved home, and like I got close with my high school friends again. But then I don't know. I'm a Leo, so I like am loyal. I love my friends. So like the friends that I wanted to maintain like communication with, I did that for sure. And then I feel like I did a good job, honestly, of keeping up with everybody for the most part.
I feel like I had 2 seasons of loss. So for the listeners, my first 2 years of college I spent at Penn State Altoona, and then I finished at Penn State main campus. So that's like a 2-and-2 program. The problem with Altoona is before I went, I heard that the only 2 things you could do there are drink and bowl. And that's true. And party. But like drink and bowl. And some people didn't make it out of the tuna black hole. And that sucks. But when you were moving on up to main campus, or even for some of the people who stayed in their programs at Penn State Altoona, because there were some pretty competitive programs within that campus, you lost them. You didn't take them with you on your next journey. So I had a few friends where I was pretty disappointed that, I had to say goodbye, but we weren't aligned. And then I think, moving home, you kind of realize who is kind of in the same boat as you. So whether that's like Bailey said, having party friends, whether that's what Brandon said, connecting with new friends or old friends that you haven't seen in a while, I feel like you kind of get a mix of both. And then they weed themselves out as you get older.
I think what changed the most for me moving home was like dating, because I did not want to bring anybody home to my parents' house ever. And I also still had to deal with, even if I slept out, kind of explaining to my parents like where I was. So I'm not gonna lie, 22 and 23 were some celibate years for me. Like I was dry after that. I went from hoeing around in college to like, ooh, Virgin Mary. That was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even like think about it that way.
Yeah. I feel like I was just an extension of college. Like, I was like pulling. Like, I think I had a good ass summer. Like, damn. Like, what I think about now. But then, no, I feel like I said, it was just like an extension of college. I feel like I was still going to brew pub all the time. Was I?
We were that summer. Yeah.
And it was,
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, when did we move into our place? Was that July or August?
We moved like pretty much right after we graduated.
Right.
Like,
oh, it was July.
July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still in the summer bopping around. Because, like, you guys started coming over when? Like, when did we start, like, actually all hanging out, I guess? Like, because I was still post-grad, right?
Yeah, we definitely visited you guys, but I think where like everything really turned was when we hit the age 24, which I guess is like the next age group we can talk about.
Yeah.
That was the best years so far. Those have been the best years of my life. I know everyone's like, oh, when you're 30, it's going to be great. 24, like.
What year was that?
2021. And like end of 2020 into 2021.
Yeah.
24,
Those
25.
years were-
We can talk about 24 and 25. Yeah, my drinking problem was crazy. I was partying. And honestly, I have no regrets. Like, I feel like when you hit 24, you've probably been in your job that you're in for a little bit. So there's comfortability in like, you know what you can get away with at work and you know what you need to take seriously. There's also a little more financial security because you've been working for a little bit and you're probably more adjusted to paying bills. So on the weekends, You were shutting that laptop on a Friday, and oh my God, I don't know what the hell you were doing after that, but I was on some fuck shit. I was going crazy, and I had a blast. I was going out on Thursday. We were all going out on Thursdays. We were sometimes Sunday fun daying. Like, there was benders. Like, I remember summer of 2021, like, I would walk into my office on a Monday, and my coworkers would be like, how are you here? We, like, didn't even think you were going to be able to make it to work. I was like, I'm fine. The way I would go on 4-day benders and just totally pull together, I could never now. And I'm only now 27, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, you're so right. Like, I'm just thinking, I feel like 24 is like when we were like going to Noto, like Thursday nights before work. Cause you're right, we were adjusted. Like, we were already living at our place for, why is my losing my voice? Damn. Like, we were already adjusted, living at our place for a few years now. And damn, you're right. We were just young and fun.
And you're also the one thing that I have loved about getting older, and I think it changes from time to time, but you do just get so much more comfortable in your skin. Like every year that you're in it, you're just another year more comfortable in who you are. And so like when you're 24, 25, like you're past the like, oh, I'm 21. Like I just started going out to bars. Like you've been in bars, you know how they work, you know, like bar culture and club culture. And you're at this point where you're like, so comfortable in who you are that you're just kind of like a bad bitch and you can just like enjoy that. I feel like that age was no one could touch me. I was like, I am the shit. I am living my best life. And I like love thinking back to that time.
And I wonder if any part of that had to do with the pandemic and like how we had a little bit of that year or whatever, like 6 months to be in that, to find ourselves a little bit. There's also a little, that's like just a wonky area.
I think one, I guess, con to the 24, 25 age, like there's a pro and a con. The pro was I made a lot of party friends again during that age. Like we were all going out. All of us were really single, like going crazy single. And that was really fun. But like because of that, we did have a lot of party friends. And I think I had a lot more drama actually back then with the people I was friends with because people were hooking up with people that people liked. People were just like being shitty. And I think when you're 24 and 25, that's when, kind of to Casey's point, like you're getting more comfortable in who you are. And that comes with kind of realizing like who you don't want to be around with and what you're kind of reaching your threshold for bullshit is. Like, I feel like that's really when your frontal lobe is developing and you're like, damn, I've been putting up with this person's bullshit for years. I'm 2 years out of college and I don't need to do this anymore. But that's a hard transition. And we can get into that with 26, but like there is that kind of, it's really exciting and it's really fun, but like you kind of have to really limit your circle a little bit after that phase. At least that's what I had to do.
Yeah, you start to like, I feel like it's all these varying degrees of becoming an adult. Like you graduate and you're living on your own for a little bit. And then you're 22, you're 23, you're a little bit more advanced. And then by the time you get to 24, 25, like you are stepping into a higher level of adulthood than before. Like you might have a little bit more of like a senior role at your job, or you might have more responsibilities. You might be kicked off your parents' insurance depending on like where you are. Like there are things that add to that. So like it is a really weird time where it's like so fun because you're still really young, but you're also like just getting into that taste of serious adulthood where it's like, I don't know, I feel like Monday through Thursday, you're a like great adult who kills it at their job, and Thursday night through Sunday morning, you're a piece of shit. Like
my coworkers used to say that. We'd be like, we're living vicariously through you. It's like, yep, you sure
That's
are.
how mine were. And I think even at that age, because I was already like, so for my job background, after JP Morgan, I was at my job from 2019 till 2024. So I was there for 5 years after graduation. And I remember thinking in that time at 24, even when I was honestly started, like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this job. Like, if I'm being serious, like, because even at one point in college, I forgot I was in Philadelphia for school. Like I thought I was there for parties. But at 24, I'm like, yes, I'm used to this. Like I've already been here for a while. I'm like, I'm just here to get paid. But I also loved what I was doing. So I was going through the motions. But I think in that mindset of being that age, I'm like, I don't really, my career is like not my top priority right now. That was just me.
And honestly, Bailey, good for you. You literally lived. The fact that people hold their jobs unless your job is like, unless you're doing what Brandon does, and I don't mean creating content, I mean genuinely having a passion for something and doing that every single day, whether that's a 9 to 5 or something on the side, your job, they don't care about you.
They don't.
Enjoying your life is so much more important than worrying about being 5 minutes late to work.
Yeah, work-life balance is so important. Exactly, because I was also like one of the youngest people, and like everyone at that job was like, they've been there for years and years. So I'm thinking, I'm like, at 24, I'm like, this is fun being a 24-year-old. I wasn't really thinking down the line, but it's okay. I mean, I'm not there. So.
I think with that, I feel like you really need to find your rhythm with jobs in your industry, because it's such a slippery slope to go too far down. Like, let me start off by saying your job does not give a fuck about you, and you are replaceable. And like, I totally agree with what Lindsay said.
Remember that, girls.
On the other side of it, it is a slippery slope to be like, I don't give a fuck about this place, and you ruin your career, or you do something and you mess up big time and you kind of screw yourself up for further advancement. And then there's too far the other way, which is like, I only care about my job, and then you wake up and you're 30 and you missed half your 20s. So like, it really is about like finding your rhythm in that. And then once you do, embrace it. Once you realize that you are replaceable at your job, embrace it, live your life. But
that might be the best advice I've ever heard on the podcast.
That was amazing.
Like, that is, listen to Casey, people.
Casey needs to be a therapist, y'all. She's been spitting
so
bars on this.
Nah, like that, it honestly just touched me. Like, I have goosebumps.
I think something that honestly I would love to hear your mindset on this is like dating when you're 24 and 25, because I feel like you kind of like shift out of like the college hookup scene, and I feel like 24 and 25 is when you should try to like to date, because you are more comfortable, you do have a better head on your shoulders, you are more adjusted. But somehow we all got into horrible situationships when we were 24 and 25. So it's like, how do you enjoy your like years, whether it's you're enjoying them single or you're enjoying them dating, or hopefully not enjoying them in a bad relationship? That shit was hard.
Yeah, I think it's important to just like not compare yourself to anyone at that time, because I feel like it's easy to look when you're 24, 25. There's a lot of people in different situations that go to different schools and they're getting engaged at 24, 25. So when I looked at that, I was like, do I want that, or do I want that because someone else wants that? That's not the case. But I honestly have nothing else to say, because I was in a horrible situation up until the age of 27. So like, I was just in hell.
I actually feel like 24 is exactly when my situationship ended. Like, my situationship ended right when COVID started. Like, the 2 weeks that were supposed to be, that was when COVID first started. That's when everything kind of ended. And I feel like, not that I took the best advice, but I feel like if I were to go back in time, I would just be like, date as much as you can, because when you get older, that's when things have to be more serious. You have to start thinking about, what kind of family life do you want? What kind of future do you have? But when you're 24, 25, you're still young enough to be like, I don't give a fuck what you want in 5 years. I'm 24 right now. I can do whatever I want. So like, I feel like you should date everyone, every kind of person from every walk of life, because you're going to learn what you like and what you don't.
Period.
Casey, back at it with the advice. If I could have had somebody tell me that at 24,
same,
I would be a different person. Yeah. I think mine was an ex-boyfriend situationship. Talked about him a lot on the pod. But I think that I was stuck between a place where I was thinking about long-term and rushing it a little bit, while also trying to have fun, because I knew that he wasn't shit. So in the back of my mind, I knew that he was whack. But in the front of my mind, I was like, but you wasted so much time. You spent all of college with him. You're supposed to marry him, blah, 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 blah. So just like follow your heart. Don't get too serious too quick. Like, slow down. These guys are time wasters. They're same with girls. They're all trying to figure it out. And you should not be along for the ride when they are in a position where they don't know what the hell they're doing.
I feel like we said it on the podcast before that there's no one in life more cocky and confident than like a 24-year-old straight man. And keep that in mind, because they will treat you like you are trash, unfortunately. And as long as you keep that in your mind, that you're kind of playing the same game, I feel like you can be a little bit better than the four of us.
Yeah, because boy, was I was driving the trash truck. I was the trash bag in the dumpster. I was in your kitchen trash. I was trash. Treated like it, sure. Definitely.
I think that leads into kind of 26 and 27. At least this is my experience. Like, I feel like you get out of college, you're super hyped to like be in the real world, work. There's obviously some downsides that we spoke about, but there's excitement. 24, 25, you're in the thick of it, having fun, being comfortable. And then when you turn 26, I feel like there's this kind of dip where you start to like wonder, who the fuck am I and where do I want to be? And that is so hard, because like you're pushed to like really challenge yourself and figure out, like, I feel like a lot of times when people turn 26, they're like, do I want to continue in this job that I've been at maybe for a few years, or do I want to switch? And I feel like I cut a lot of people out in 24 and 25 that I needed to, but like now I also feel like I don't have as many friends, and some of your friends at that point have gotten into really serious relationships, so your friendships are changing. And it kind of like, for me, I had like a little bit of an identity crisis, and I was like, I still sometimes deal with that. I'm like, what the hell am I doing in these late 20s, I guess?
Yeah, I think for me, for like career-wise, I mean, like for me, like my career was like my most important thing.
Yeah.
And for 26 is when that shifted for me, because like I got more serious about my job, because like I was getting older, and I was like, I do love my job, and I'm like, that's when it becomes a decision, because I'm like, I've been here since I was 23. I'm 26 now. I'm also 27 now. So I feel like the older I get, the more I realize what I did. It becomes a thing, because you're like, I'm 26, about to be 30, and there's so many, do I want to stay here forever? Like, I went to school for this, and there's so much else in this world, but I'm comfortable here. There was just, being 26, you're right, it was kind of an identity crisis, my favorite number. I was trying to think, what do we do? We went to Miami for our 26th birthday. But that year, I feel like I kind of blocked it out, like, other than like my career, but.
Yeah.
Me being on my therapist shit again, but I always say when it comes to jobs, because I feel like you do get such an identity crisis when you're at this age, because like you maybe have been through a few different jobs at this point in your like career, or maybe you've been at the same one, but you're getting to like what Bailey said, like you're getting to that age where you kind of make a decision, like which way do I go? And I feel like I've just always lived by the fact that your job needs to do one of three things. It either needs to pay your bills, make you happy, or advance your career. It does not need to do all three. You can be in a job that makes you really happy, but it doesn't advance your career and it doesn't pay your bills, but you're super fulfilled and happy. You could be in a job that doesn't pay your bills and doesn't make you happy, but advances your career, like being in this job for a year or two will help me get to the next step. Or you could be miserable, not advancing your career, but paying your bills. And I feel like it doesn't have to have all three, but your job needs to have one. And I was in a position where my job did not check any of those boxes. I had 2 jobs back to back that did not check any of those boxes. I was not paying my bills, I was miserable, and I was not advancing my career. And it was this huge moment where I was like, fuck, I just made this mistake twice. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to pivot. Like everyone else is in jobs that pays a lot of money or that makes them really happy. And I have none of the three. Like I felt so lost career-wise. And I feel like that was a moment where like I had to figure out what was important. And for me at that time, it was paying bills. So I took a job that paid bills. And like, I feel like at each stage of your life, you pick one of the three that's more important to you. But like, you might, like me, find yourself in a position where you're like, holy fuck, I have none of the three. I'm so miserable. I'm poor and I'm not going anywhere. And it fucking sucks. And that's a very common thing for 26 and 27.
Yeah.
I will say though, like, don't take a job that fucking sucks though. Like, I know if it pays bill, but I feel like if it's making you so unhappy, because looking back at those years, like, I mean, I was kind of happy, I guess, but there were some things that weren't making me happy. And if I would have looked at those and like kind of got out while I would have, like, that would have been a little bit better. But everything happens for a reason. But I'm not like disagreeing with what you're saying.
No,
but, like,
I
I
know
think
what you're
there is
saying.
little things like if you're that, when I look back like those years, you just like don't waste it with like a job that is treating you like absolute dog shit.
Yeah. I would say when you were 26 and 27, and this is something I'm actively like trying to do, you truly need to find a hobby other than drinking. Like you need to find something that fills your cup so that if you're not happy in work or you're not happy in other areas of your life, there's one thing that you have that you can be like, I'm so happy when I do that. And that was, I guess, kind of for me, like I got really happy making content and then I turned it into a job. But something I'm dealing with now is, okay, now that is work, I need another hobby that I'm not going to post content about that I actually can have for myself. And it's hard. You don't play sports anymore. You're not in school. You're not in clubs. So finding like an extracurricular and finding the time to do it, it's challenging as fuck.
Wow, you're
but
right.
It really is rewarding for your mental health if you find something that like you love to do, like on the side.
You're good at that though. I feel like you always inspire me to like try to, like we took a yoga class a few months ago and you were just like, yeah, my therapist said I should try something different. So I've never done yoga before and I want to try it. And I was like, oh my God, I need to try something that I've never done before because it's so easy to be in your routine.
Yeah.
So right.
And it's like fun when you like like I started doing a different workout program, and now I go to this Thrive at City Fitness, and it's really nice because it's like a community, and I haven't really like made the effort to like maintain friends outside of the class, but it's like cool just to like go every day and get out of my house for an hour and like see people I know and just like chit chat. And it's like it honestly, like it's weird, like I actually wake up and I enjoy going to the gym now, which I've never been able to say in my life.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
finding something that's rewarding for you is like definitely important.
How do you?
I was gonna say I took my health a lot serious when I got like 25, 26, just because like you learned a lot about insurance, and I just feel like you said, like a lot of the drinking kind of like wears on your body, but also you're getting older. You're 26, like you're an adult. Like take care of your adult
Your hangovers
body.
are worse.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see. I'm like, if I want to be healthy by the time I'm 60, 70, I need to start working on my body now. Like in a way, like mentally, physically, even my skin. Like
Sunblock.
Yeah, like collagen. Your body starts losing collagen by I think 24, 25. And a lot of people don't know that. But I'm like, take care of your bodies now, and it's so important.
I will say that 26, 27, I'm 27 now, but I will say that these have been the hardest years I've ever had, like my whole life. A mix of like not having a job right now and like the anxiety of not having that, because like Casey said, it's got to check one of those 3 boxes. And when you get to 27 and you've just been in the work world for what feels like so long, sometimes remembering those can be so difficult. And you know, you do end up in spaces where like Bailey kind of contradicted, or not contradict, that's not the word I want to use. Bailey had a different opinion on that. I kind of agree with you, Bailey, because it's like you don't want to put yourself in a situation where like your job is just paying your bills. Like if I could go back, you guys, I would pick a career path that I was so passionate about. It is your body. Like this is the first time where I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I got a mustache, or like I have got to lose weight, or like, Lindsay, you can't eat that because your stomach is not this, like even hangovers, like it's hard. So like another thing is making friends, like and losing friends. Like I've lost some of my best friends, honestly, like ever so recently, because we're all just changing in different ways, and that's fine, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. So I think emotionally, physically, mentally, like you are literally like, if I could give a tip for gearing up for 26, 27s, like loving yourself and like finding yourself and like really taking those years to like enjoy life and like enjoy like being you is like so important, because it's going to give you such a strong foundation for when you hit the 27 or the 26.
I think, yeah, I feel like journaling is so important at this age, which sounds so like silly, but to everything you just said, Lindsay, like everything changes as you get older. It is so fucking crazy to take a second and look and be like, holy fuck, everything is different. And I feel like journaling, or whatever journaling is to you, if that's like Brandon loves his hot girl walks, if it's taking a hot girl walk, if it's listening to music in your room, like whatever journaling looks like for you, you have to fucking do it, because you have to be in tune with yourself, or else you're going to be so lost. And you're going to be lost regardless, unfortunately, but at least if you like keep connected to yourself, you might be a little less lost.
Yeah. And making friends at this age is hard because you're not in the position to meet new people. Like you have to put yourself in that position. Whereas like in college, you were constantly switching classes, you were constantly walking on campus, doing different things. And even in like your first few years of like your college transition, you're meeting a lot of people, you're dating around, you might have moved to a new city. But when you're 26 and 27, you've probably been stuck in the same routine, and you're probably used to seeing the same people, and you kind of forget how to make a new connection. So that's tough. And then dating, I mean, that's a fucking hot mess. I feel like, I feel like you are on one end of the spectrum. You are either Casey and you have you did your time, girl. You did your time and you got yourself a man's, or you are like me and you are back at the start of the relay race wondering how the fuck you just ran all those laps and you haven't made any progress. Like that shit's crazy. That's actually insane.
That's such a good analogy. You've made progress.
No,
though.
I have.
You
made
know
progress.
what you want,
Yeah.
what you don't want, what's good, what's
100%.
bad.
You're
but
honestly so inspiring.
Thank you. And I do think that is like, if you were at the age of 27, 28 and you're single, it's not a big deal. You still have so much time in your life. But also like, I thought about this, like I talked about this in therapy. My therapist was like, your first relationship, you often just go for someone that likes you. And then after you get that out of the way, you then know what you actually not like, but what you want. And that's kind of the mindset I'm going into my late 20s with dating.
Right.
But yeah, and just remember, like, we are 28, and I know that we
I'm
always
27.
Yeah,
Don't put that age on
we
me.
are about to turn 28. Me and Lindsay, we're 27.
Me and Bailey are old
I
as fuck.
still think I'm 27. This whole time we were talking, like until the very end, I was like, fuck, I'm 28. So like it just talking about all of that, it makes me kind of happy though to see like I have it in me. Like I've been like, I mean, I don't have a job right now, so that's like kind of like killing my ego. But like I'm looking like back in when I was right out of college, I was working so hard. I still have that in me, and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. And I made a TikTok about this, and I viewed life differently. First of all, don't be nervous about your 30s because I've heard they're amazing. But 28, the distance between 28 to 30 is the same distance between 19 to 21. And those were 2 long ass years that I was waiting to be able to get into the bar. So that is my mindset. We have a long way to go, and hopefully we close out our 20s in good spirits. And we hope that this conversation helped you guys at whatever age you're at, or even if you're not in your 20s and you can reflect back on what your 20s were like. Drop a comment below if you have any advice, because we could all use it.
Yeah.
But shifting gears to our Ask the Girlies segment, I think we have a really good one for this week that is fitting for this discussion.
We do. So this is all about friendship. We had a lovely girlie write us in and let us know that she's having a hard time in my 10-person all girl friend group. Overall, they're really toxic, only care about hooking up with guys, and on top of that, I feel like the punching bag of the group. How do I leave the friend group quietly while also making it known that I'm making an exit?
Well, if you want to leave quietly while also making an exit, I think that you have to do it then petty and just leave the chats. You know, you don't have to say anything, but leave them. And then when someone texts you and is like, why'd you leave? Kind of just be like, I'm over it. That's kind of doing that. I personally wouldn't do that. I would honestly go one of 2 routes. I would either let it be a gradual goodbye, which Lindsay, you've talked about before, which is stop watering the dead plants. Stop reaching out, stop answering. Eventually, your group chat will make a new one without you. Honestly, coming from someone who's done that before, I've made a new group chat with people that I no longer talk to. You can go that route, or you can be an adult and you could literally say, this has been fun, you guys, but I really have been realizing that I don't have much in common, and I don't really enjoy the time that I've been spending, and life is really precious, and these friendships aren't serving me anymore. I wish you all the best and thank you for the memories, but I'm moving on. And guess what? If you were their punching bag, what the fuck do you care? You're never going to be good enough for them if they're continuing to push you down. So who cares? But don't be afraid to communicate. And if you're not afraid and you're just like, they don't deserve communication, then go the first route and gradually distance.
That's a really good point. If they don't deserve it, I think something that my therapist always says is that you are worthy of respect and you are worthy of being treated with respect. And it's like, if those people aren't respecting you, you shouldn't even have to have the courtesy to tell them why you're making your exodus. If you just need to go, you need to go. But I think if we're taking the mature approach, which, I've lost some friends along the way. If I had the opportunity, I might have gone back and said, hey, here's why this isn't going to work for me. You're not filling my cup and I'm not filling yours. So let's just peace out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it can be really scary because they might be the people you text for your weekend plans, and they might be the people that you have a social life with. So to leave that group, you're like, holy crap, am I still going to have like a social life without these people? Am I still going to have whatever that is to you? But I feel like to what you said, Brennan, if you're the punching bag, they're not your people anyway. And you'll find that person, whether it's a new girl group, whether that's a new partner, whether that's a coworker at work that turns into your best friend. Like, if it may be really scary to leave because you're like, holy crap, I don't know what I'm going to do now. But your people and your group will find you. At some point.
Love that. All right. Want to wrap up with an immunity necklace? I heard Miss Bailey has one this week.
I sure do. Goddamn. Well, I'm going to keep this one brief and short. Men should not be in women's business. And I'm going to say this again in case you didn't hear me correctly. Grown men should not be in grown women's business. There is no reason for me to go up to, let's give a boyfriend, for example. There's no reason for me to go up to your boyfriend and him talk to me about gossip that's going on in my friend group that has nothing to do with your girlfriend. Let's keep it as that. Men, let's stay out of women's business. Just like when my grandma used to tell me as a little girl, stay out of grown folks' business. I said, you're right. I'm not a grown folk, so I'm not going to get in their business. If you're not a woman or a male or a woman, woman facing, I don't give a fuck what it is. I'm trying to be politically correct. You get it? Just stay out of my goddamn business. Shit.
Amen.
That felt good.
Oh,
I needed
period.
that. I needed
A
that.
fucking
Therapy.
man. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for 30 episodes. We love you guys.
Dirty 30.
Yep, Dirty 30 in the books. Don't keep everything between us girlies. If you learned something good today, share it with your other girlies. Tell them to listen to the podcast for more advice from 4 best friends with 1 brain cell. And until then, we'll see you for episode 31. Bye, guys.
Bye.